Hi everyone, and welcome. Thank you for being here. So today, I want to talk about our intuition. So here's my question to you. Have you ever found yourself wondering, am I hearing my intuition? Is that what's giving me this kind of gut feeling or sense of taking some action, that sixth sense, that sense, that feeling of intuition? We all know what that is. Some of us use it more or recognize it probably more than others, but we all know what that is. Or is this my ego kind of impersonating my intuition? I think it's a really, really important question, because if we really learn to use our intuition, to recognize our intuition, and to follow what truly is our intuition, then we're really living life in the flow. We're really much more direct and flowing, flowing with life, direct, comfortable, kind of a knowing that exists when we really are connected to our intuition. Now, that doesn't mean that our intuition is always taking us to happy places or pushing us towards something that is something we're excited about and want to do. No, sometimes our intuition is pointing us into areas that may be scary for us, challenging for us, feeling like we're kind of being pushed to the next level. That can be our intuition as well. So the ego is so clever. It can definitely sound like, disguise itself as our intuition. And so the question is, where have been the times perhaps you thought you were following your intuition, but at the end of the day, the result, whatever showed up, ended up not even close, or close, but not really what you thought it would be. So were you instead hearing the ego impersonating your intuition? So let's talk about some of the ways that we've learned or that we have experienced our intuition. And some of they vary. It obviously varies for different people and different situations. But sometimes your intuition is right, boom, there in the moment. You may be driving and something is pushing you to move over to the next lane and you miss an accident. Or you may be running out of gas and you're traveling and you're on a highway and you're getting pretty nervous because it's getting late in the evening and you think, oh my God, I'm not going to find a gas station. I don't see any place taking me off to a gas station. And just as you're kind of getting into that concern, that intuition, that part of you is pointing you toward getting off the highway at the next exit, and lo and behold, there is a gas station that's open. So those are like simple ideas. I don't know why I'm using driving exactly, but I think that often happens to some of us during driving, or we think we're lost and we're trying to find an address, and then boom, intuition shows us, oh, where it is, or turn right or turn left, that type of intuition. Then the other type of intuition is not so in the moment, and it may be something about you wanting to change a job, or you wanting to, or you're interviewing at jobs and you're not sure that the one that's being offered to you is the right job. So this is where we start to go within and want to get a gut feeling about these things. There's always those situations where it appears like it's your perfect job. It's your dream job. It's got everything you want. You'd be doing what you're very passionate about doing. The pay is really good. The benefits are great. Everybody in your family is excited for you, but then lingering in the back of your mind is this doubt I don't know if this is the right job for me. So is that your intuition, or is that the ego who's fearful? Because our ego is fearful. That's when the ego gets fearful, and then it wants to fix things and make them so we don't have to be in fear or struggle or whatever. So it could be the ego saying, well, just showing up as a side of you that says, yeah, this is the perfect job, but I'm not sure. Maybe this is actually outside of what I can really do. I'm not sure I can really perform in the way that I've kind of sold myself in these interviews. So there could be some doubt going on. And that's a big decision for us all when we're looking at our careers and jobs. We want to make the right decision because we know when we don't, it's not fun. Other big decisions are, let's say you and your family are house hunting, and you've seen many, many houses, and you and your spouse are not in total agreement with what's most important, but the kids' schools are at the top. So you're trying to work this all out, finding the home that's going to suit your family, but at the same time, keeping at the top of the priority list the school that your children will attend. And the same thing can happen where you're thinking, okay, this feels right. It's not the perfect house, and I wish it had this or that, but I think it's going to work, and it definitely is in the school area of the zone for my kids. But then again, sometimes you have that lingering doubt in your back of your mind. So is that the ego not really fearing that maybe you're making a wrong decision? I mean, this is a big decision. Homes cost a lot of money. It's a big investment, yada, yada. So that's where sometimes you start to feel some doubt. The key is this. One is really practicing using that tool called your intuition. Really start to tune into that. You can do this when you're meditating or sitting in silence, like I like to call it, and ask your guides from an intuitive point of view, show me a sign, help me see if this is the right thing for me to do. I want to get that gut feeling or that sixth sense, or am I making a mistake? When you're tuning within and you begin to learn how to really listen correctly, it's really what it is, listen to what's really being offered to you, rather than what you want to hear, because that's the other thing that can happen. And I think this is where the ego can have a great performance going on. Because you're wanting to feel intuitively, you're really wanting to know, you're saying that at least, should I go this way or that way? However, there's a part of you that really is wanting it a certain way. You're trying to be neutral. You're trying to say, if this isn't right, sabotage it. You're saying it, but you're not necessarily totally believing it. So this is another area where doubt can step in, or over-enthusiastic about what you think your intuition is telling you. So here's another way where you can look at, am I getting either scared or really excited? Either fearful, doubtful, oh my God, I don't know if this is right, or, oh wow, the signs are here, this has got to be right. The person I'm going to work for is a Pisces just like me, and you're finding all of these reasons for sure that this could work out. Or is that a matter of you just want it to work out, okay? You really like this place and you really want to have this happen, and anyway you're kind of tired of looking for new jobs, and this is it. But at the end of the day, you may discover this wasn't it for a variety of reasons. Listen, we all go through that. Mistakes are just part of being a human being, and we learn from those mistakes, hopefully. But again, the key is learning to feel and to sense what's talking to me. My ego, my desire to have something a certain way, or is it my gut, my intuition, my guides. And when there's that confusion, the first thing I say to do is stop. Just stop. Stop thinking about it. Stop trying to figure it out. Just stop. Breathe. Sit in silence. If you need to tell, we'll just go on the same idea of getting a job. If you need to tell the person or who is ever making you the offer that you feel really positive about this, but you just want to make sure that it's the right decision, and ask for an additional 24 hours to give an answer. Yeah, that could be uncomfortable, and that may make the decision maker a little leery of, are they making the right decision? But if it's the right thing to happen, it's going to happen in spite of you, if it's right. So you have to just kind of trust that, and then kind of cool down, I call it, like a cooling down period. So if you're having these excited emotions or these fearful emotions, either way, you want to just take a time out. That's what it really is. Take a time out so that you can really get in a more grounded and balanced way. So this is a gift you have when it's longer term. It's not like you're in traffic and something's telling you to move over into the next lane, or you're running out of gas. This is much different. These are more thoughtful decisions that you want to make, and you really want to be tuned in, and you really want to notice when you are trying to make something even more than it is, like the enthusiasm, or even to the point of, oh my God, the guy I'm going to work for, he's the same sign as I am, and we came from the same part of the U.S. before we moved to California, and he has 2 kids, and I have 2 kids, and they're about the same age, and it can go on and on, right? Right. Or, the type of building that this is in, it's the kind of environment and atmosphere I love to be in. I loved everybody I've met so far. It's a really open-minded group. All those things are adjectives, descriptions of why this should be a good position for me. And what we may not be seeing during this excitement is something that's actually glaring us in the face, letting us know, yeah, all this is good news. However, there's a reason this is not a job for you. And it's only after the fact that we begin to back up and say, I took this job, I thought it was perfect, but what I didn't see was this and that. So I know you all know what I'm talking about. You've all had some similar or some experience like this, where you had the doubt, but you really put the excitement before the doubt. Does it really matter if it's the ego or your intuitive talking to you or advising you? Yeah, it does, because it helps you feel more confident in your decision. And it also, what it does, it trains your ear and your emotions to really begin to understand the language of intuition. So it can show up in different ways for all of us. For me, intuition is a strong feeling. I mean, when somebody says a gut feeling or a sixth sense, that's it for me. And also, oftentimes, and this is another tip, oftentimes with intuition, it's not something that you can make sense of. It isn't so clear all the time why you're being kind of nudged in a certain direction. So it's hard to explain to somebody else that might say, well, why are you thinking of doing this? I don't know, I just have this feeling I should. So there is that, I don't know for sure, but I just have this strong feeling. Well, when you can learn to what that really feels like, and it's kind of like learning a new language, and you know what it feels like. Oftentimes for me, it's a feeling, but it's also a subtle voice, I could say, that is very clear, not trying to make me think something's better than it is, or if that ego's coming up or fear is coming up, oftentimes the intuition will override that fear if that needs to happen. So it really is using it often. Now this is the key. It's like everything else, or what did they say? If you don't use it, you lose it. So the way to use intuition is to call upon it all the time, even for just everyday stuff. You know, should I buy this or that? Is this a better thing for me to have or not? It could be as simple as, what am I going to make for dinner? It could be as simple as, who do I hire as a handyman when you're trying to find somebody to help you out in your home, or maybe you're doing a big remodel, and use your intuition. Yeah, the guy may come with a whole bunch of really good resume and a whole bunch of recommendations, but is he the right person for you? When we're remodeling our home, it's a very personal thing, and so you want, there needs to be a good mesh with energy and personality, so you can use it then. I mean, seriously, all day long you can use your intuition, and that keeps you in the flow. So the more that you begin to understand and to recognize the voice and the feeling of the sensation of when your intuition, which is really, we could also say our guides, our angels, are trying to help us move in the better direction, then we become just much more able to understand clearly what is my intuition saying, and we don't start to take a different approach, or we follow what we think is the right thing, and then we find out no, it wasn't, and then we think, oh my God, I don't have a good intuition, I'm not good at gut feelings. We're all good at it, believe me. We all have the capability to totally get and understand, whether it's our intuitive part that's speaking to us, or is it the ego impersonating our intuition. The ego oftentimes is more energetic, let's call it that, whether it's to be, the ego's trying to tell you not to do something, so it's energetically stronger, there's a fear sensation going on. It's just in a more aggressive mode, I would call it, or it can be on the other side of the coin, which would be the excitement and thrill, and that will be sometimes when you're hearing, oh my God, the person I'm going to work for is my same sign, and we have the same age kids, and yada yada, you know, the story. So oftentimes that can be, and oftentimes it is, the ego, or it's you kind of thinking you're wanting something more than the other. But 99% of the time, even when you're overly enthusiastic about something, it's that ego that's pumping you up like that, coming in as a very positive element into when you're having to make these decisions. So it's practice again. Everything is practice, right? You know, who are we? We are these beings that have dropped into form as a human being, and we're having all these experiences for us to learn and just plain experience. And so this is what we're here for. So we need to spend that time in the right places, and this is where learning to just sit quietly, learning to really use our internal world, because that's where it's at. This other world out here, the thing that seems separate and we seem separate from it, is only our illusion. It's a role we're playing out. We know that, right? We're a character in this particular play. But the truth is, when we get under a situation where we feel we really need to make the right decision, we forget that we're just a character playing the game. Life is a game. So that is why we can help ourselves so much by just sitting quietly, tuning in, stopping when we're not sure. Just stop and get quiet, cool down, time out before any decision is made. So I don't know what else I can tell you about this. I think it's a common problem, really. I do. And I think that's where sometimes people decide if they thought their intuition was guiding them in a certain direction and they went that direction, and then things became a nightmare. Nothing worked out. It was like, oh my God, why did I do this? Then a person loses confidence that they have that ability to use their intuition. So again, this comes down to what we tend to not want to do, which is really spend time, quiet time, within ourselves, in our inner world. And I know it can be so challenging, particularly, you know, I was going to say in today's world. I think people said that 20 years ago, 30, it's always today's world. It can be challenging. But what it comes down to is we're really valuing where we're putting our time. And so if you find yourself on the spiritual path of some sort, which you would be if you're listening to this particular video, then it's kind of waking up out of the hypnotic have to make happen, anxiety and so forth, that all that causes. And we wake up to it by really just going quiet and going within. And yes, it's a challenge to do it. First of all, at the beginning, it's a challenge because you don't really know what's going to happen. However, what I can tell you, that the more that you do this, the more that you actually use that inner world, use your meditation, use your sitting quietly, use your asking your guides to show you, to intuitively direct you somewhere. The more that you have the experience of that and have the positive experience, the more you gain confidence, because you now really know if this is the ego or your intuition talking to you or edging you on. Then you kind of past that point of I'm not sure. And when you go past that point of I'm not sure, and you have the tools in case you are not sure to stop and wait, etc., then it's not a chore by any means. It's an absolute will sit quietly for 30 to 60 minutes a day, no matter what, because you know what results from that. You've experienced it. But it's baby steps. Truly, it's baby steps. So the first step is start one day at a time. And if you screw up and you started and you think you were getting up an hour early so you could have your time, quiet time, and then you ended up oversleeping or sleeping late one morning, or felt too tired or not motivated, and then you beat yourself up. Don't do that. Just baby steps, but keep it in front of you. Why not have that experience? I mean, you can also get enthusiastic about it. Like, I want to know what this feels like. I want to see how my life might be different if I really take the time to go within. And when you go within and you learn this, then also miracles happen. It's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. You get an idea of something, or you think you're looking for something, and boom, it shows up. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Very cool. So I want to encourage you definitely to learn who's talking to you. Is it your intuition, or is it a scared ego, or an overexcited ego? This is what you want to learn. And the more that you can do this, by the way, the quieter the ego gets. That's the other thing that happens, is because you become very clear on what's up, who's talking, then the ego really can't come in so well disguised as your intuition. So that ego finally gets quiet and gets what's going on and isn't trying to interfere in that way. So I think that's enough said about, can we tell the difference if it's our ego or our intuition? Again, I want to encourage you to really make that time available to yourselves every day. I'm sorry, it is every day. It's not just go to a meditation class for a week and I'll get it, or just on Mondays I'll meditate. It's really got to be every day. It doesn't have to be the same time every day. It can be any time in the day. It could be at your lunch break at work, and you go and sit in your car quietly for 30 minutes to an hour. You'll get good at it, and you can actually meditate while you're on the plane. You can meditate in so many different ways, but that's ahead of the game. And we're all at different levels, and I may be speaking to people that already know this, but I have a feeling I'm speaking to a lot of people that don't. So I hope this was helpful for you guys, and that it will entice you, if you're not doing it already, to spend those 30 to 60 quiet minutes a day. And then let me know what happens. Let me know how it's going for you. Let me know that in the comments below. I'd love to hear good news and bad news. If it didn't work, let me know that too. You know? And it may not at the beginning. In fact, probably won't. We make the mistakes, right? Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, please click like and also subscribe. And there's that little bell to the side of the subscribe button. If you click on that, then you'll be notified when new videos come up. Again, thank you so much for being here. I love you guys. Take care.